All right, guys, welcome to the live stream. It is a late night, but we are kicking off a live stream because I'm working late and thought it'd be better to teach you guys and talk on camera while I'm doing some Pex-A install. It's pretty much just step by step. I'm going to update you on where I'm at with the van, and then we'll go through the van and start working. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the EcoFlow. I'm going to change camera angles here. So I've got the EcoFlow charging in the shop via shore power, and what's really cool is I've been just playing around with it, kind of learning the system. It's extremely easy to use. It's very, very nice. So if I go through and I turn off my AC, so I've got my inverter off. Let's see, the next thing I need to do is my input, so that's my shore power. I'll show you guys this in another video. Don't really have time tonight. We're knocking out this plumbing. Okay, there we go. So on and off the last 2 days, I've been charging this up. I've got it up to 83% for the battery life. I do have the lights installed in the van, so everything can be wirelessly controlled from the EcoFlow. And then also the switches. We've got the front lights. Front lights are also on dimmers, so they're independent. And then the back lights, I'm not sure if you can see. There's the back lights off and on, and then they're also on their own dimmers. So dual dimmers, dual zone lighting. So that's pretty much this part of the van. We're going to go over here and we're going to talk about the plumbing. So the majority of today was spent transitioning the kitchen to the kitchen galley plumbing into the back of the van. So as we pan down, left to right, we've got the EcoFlow battery, the 5 kilowatt hour on the left. So that's mounted. Tomorrow, the box for the electrical is going to be finished, and that's going to go over the wheel well on the left. So today, this structure, so the hot water heater enclosure with the 36-gallon Northwest Conversions water tank. So all of this is what is been going on today, as well as the custom work in the back end, which is going to be the controls for lighting, tank level, the shower connection for the rear spray down wash area, and then the tank fill. So that's all been mapped out, planned, built, put together tonight. So I'm going to work for about another 2 hours. This is just the, kind of task where you don't really have to think a lot. You're just connecting stuff together. So thought I'd get on live and talk to you about some things because first off, I'm going to go talk to you about the hot water heater back here. This is a residential hot water heater. And something that I don't see a lot of people doing is plumbing the pressure relief valve. So right here, let's see if I can clamp this out of the way. Okay, so the pressure relief valve, get this clamped. I'm going to hold these lines out of my way for right now. This is our switched water pump power. So we need to move this out of the way. Okay. All right, that looks good. All right, so back to what we were talking about. So this right here is your safety valve. So what happens is in the event that this overpressurizes, so your water's off, you're not flowing water through this. It can't release the pressure through the faucet. So your faucet's off, the pump's off, but inside here, this element is basically boiling the water. It's kind of run away, or you've got it set on too high of a setting. This safety valve is going to pop off, and it's set to 150 psi and 250 degrees Fahrenheit. I think that's when it blows. But if you can imagine, if you don't plumb this in your van, then it's going to blow out all in your van. So what I do on my vans that I build is I tie this into the vent line for the tank. So the vent line for the tank vents the air out of the tank. So when you fill it up, that air that needs to be displaced and go out of the van goes out the back of the van where the vent port is. I showed you guys that in a previous live stream. Next thing is that this kind of conveniently acts as a indicator that your tank is full. So the water will come all the way up, and when the air stops coming out of your vent and the water starts dripping out of your van, which is it's designed to do that, you know the tank's full. So what I do is, in line to that, I have a way so that when this valve blows off, it's got you know, a place to go, which is outside the van, not inside the van. So basically what we do is we just have a Pex-A T. These are all Pex-A fittings. Now they are very expensive. I know a lot of people don't want to use them because they are, you know, about $5 a pop, $5 to $7 sometimes. But you'll see here in a second how fast you can get through all these connections. And again, something that adds a lot of cost to it is the tool to crimp these connections. I'm gonna fix my video so my head's not chopped off. Okay. And I need to change my there you go. Change the AC. Okay. So the next tool that's expensive is this Pex-A crimper. They have a DeWalt version. They have a Milwaukee version. There's a couple of Milwaukee tools that I really enjoy in the shop. This tool is, you know, obviously for Pex-A, that's my favorite. And I have two other tools that they're my most favorite Milwaukee tools. I think they're great. So the M12 line. It's this drill. It's super light. It's really easy to get into hard places. Quick connect, and it has a clutch. And then this is the grinder. So this is what I use to cut out John and Susan's window, cut out the rear windows. I mean, not the window itself, but the frame, the support frame. This thing is just awesome. So any type of serious metal cutting. But those two.
Metal cutting. You can search for it in the App Store.
Okay, Siri, that's nice. So those, but the other ones are DeWalt. I just use them for the handyman jobs I used to do before the van building. But so this is so ProPex, Pex-A, and Upnor are all the same. Now, Pex by itself is not the same as Pex-A. It is not the same at all. The connection is completely different, and when you go and buy your bags, even to this day, I still make this mistake because I'm usually in a hurry. I'm going to the store. So today, for example, in a hurry, going to the store, picking up parts. Sometimes I get Shark Bite. Sometimes I get the brand from that Home Depot sells. I forgot what the name of it is, but you can see these bags, shark bite, they're both half inch by half inch. They look the same. Here, these are expansion sleeves. This is a straight coupling. But this thing right here, I wish they would make it, I don't want to say for dumb people, but like myself when I get tired and I'm shopping at the store. But I don't know why besides this Pex-A, this right here is usually the indicator and the bags. So I know it says it here, but for example, these are the bags you normally get. You don't normally get big bags. So this bag is very hard. It's really small here, and you just can't. My point is, Pex-A is completely different than Pex, just Pex. So you can buy a bunch of these fittings, bring them back, and it doesn't work. So that slows things down. Anyway, Pex-A is what we're using. The old Pex is the steel bands that you can crimp, and those bands are. In the shop, the plumbing in the shop, when I work on like the bathroom or something like that, or like the outside faucet, that's Pex-A, and I mean sorry, that's Pex, regular Pex. Then there's Pex-B, but okay. Not going to get into all that. Just to let you know, this is Pex-A. This is a ProPex tool for Pex-A. This blue ring, this is half inch. So what this does is this is an expanding tool. So where original Pex would be a crimp sleeve, Pex-A is an expansion system. So what you have is these, now I'm sure going to get roasted in the comments, but think of this expansion sleeve like an industrial rubber band, if that makes sense. So this is a plastic that has a memory. So when you stretch it, it comes back to its memory. So what we do is we take these caps. So you'll take your Pex-A, and then you'll measure it for the joint that you need. But keep in mind, you need to add the distance of these sleeves, which is about 1/16 of an inch. So you have about 1/8 of an inch you've added. So now this is your length of your pipe. So this is not your length. This is your final length is this. So we're going to go ahead and expand this, crimp it into place. I'm not sure how loud this is going to be, but essentially what you're going to do with this is you're going to, depending on if it's the brass or the plastic, so I do 7 times. So I let it go 7 times, and then I quickly take it off and put it on here. Because as soon as you take it off of this machine, it's going to start closing back down. So you just need to make sure you pop it on there pretty quickly. And then also you need to think about, once you expand it, how you're going to get it on, and make sure that nothing's in the way of you getting it on, because this thing is moving as soon as you take it off and as soon as you put it on. So if you're getting in a tight spot, if you take too long, you're going to have to re-expand it again and then go back and do it over again. So it does take a little bit of a learning curve. Also make sure that if you're putting on a certain section, you can lift it up, get it in there, or put it on here and then get it into the next position. So you just kind of have to pre-plan how you're getting it in there. That would be my best advice to you, is just, cut it and do exactly like I'm doing. Say, okay, I'm going to expand it. I'm going to pop it on here first. I'm going to let it constrict. And then I'm going to come over here, expand it, and then I'm going to pop it on. So that's my 2 steps. So I like to do really neat, clean runs. So sometimes it's a really tight fit, and yeah, you just got to do it quick. Anyway, appreciate you guys watching the live stream. Looks like we got a couple people on here tonight. If you guys have any questions pertaining to this, you can ask me in the chat. I'm just going to get working here. So hopefully this is not too loud on camera. Now you don't have to have both on. That'll probably fall off. We'll just do one at a time here. So I could probably do it only 6 times. 7 gives me a little bit more insurance. And so basically what's happening is it's the first grab is not really anything. It's just pulling it on the sleeve. The second grab is in the middle, and the third grab pushes it to the outside. So once it's in that third grab, from there it's just staying at this end here. So now this is on there forever. It's pretty wild. Also, you want to make sure you can actually get the tool in there to do the next expansion. So see, I have this. I don't have this completely bolted down yet, so I can lift it up. So that's where it's going to be, but I can actually lift it up here, for example. Then hold it up there. Don't let it pop back on you, because if you let it pop back on you and it closes too fast, then you're pretty much screwed. You may have to redo that whole setup you have. So it may sound like I'm kind of overanalyzing, but trust me, you don't want to do that. And I'm expanding it just a little bit further because I don't want to halfway do it on camera and then I have to redo this. So I'm just kind of taking my time. Also, while we're hold this just for a second, you don't have to hold this long. I'm just OCD here. For the pipe fittings, we're using Rector-Seal Slow Dry Soft Set number 5, and this is a food safe liquid sealant. I like it because it's a soft set, and my theory behind that, which Thomas's van is the one that's had it the longest, and he's had no problems. My theory behind it is the soft set allows for vibration of the joint, for example, and doesn't allow it to leak. It says it's good up to 100 psi, and can actually go into instant services for like gas lines and stuff like that. So sounds pretty good. Okay, so I'd use that on this. So what I had is I had this Pex reducer. So this is a 3/4 inch pressure relief valve. So it's a 3/4 inch fitting going to a 1/2 inch Pex-A, to a T, and then to a 90 1/2 inch pipe thread for the water tank using soft set. All right. Let's see what is next. So now I got to start the process of actually taking my long lines and moving them into where they need to go. So I got to do a couple things here. I've got hot water in the back and I've got hot water in the front. So for the front here, I need to clip it with a 90. We need to have a T. T goes here to the hot water. And so I'll do this for you guys. It's not really for me. Oh yeah, Pat, I can, let's see here. Let's see, that should focus in pretty good if I get my head out of the way. There you go. Yeah, and I can actually, I can drop that into the video. So this is going to come from my personal YouTube, but that's okay. So it's, Rector seal. Slow dry. Number 5. And it's the NSF food grade yellow. Boom. There you go. Okay. All right, so I need to get, let's see, I need to get 190, 1T, so that's 2 90s. I need to get 2 90s, 3 90s, 3 90s and a T. And you guys will see me interchange these plastic ones with the metal ones. I used to be really big about metal ones, and usually when you have a strong opinion on something, you probably haven't researched it enough, or you've overly researched it, so you kind of form an opinion. So in my early days, I had strong opinions on things that I didn't really research. It was just more of somebody had told me that to use this, and then I used it. So I did some research. I have a video explaining this, the difference between a metal and a plastic PEX fitting, which one is better, hot, cold, freezing, all that good stuff. Don't worry about any of that, freezing, whatever. The main difference in use case for metal versus plastic has to do with the chemical that is being used. So if you're using a caustic chemical, like a very acidic, corrosive, the plastic is better, I believe that's correct, than the brass. However, for me, I'm using these more for if there's an area where I don't think this is going to get affected, like a stressful area, I'll use the plastic. But for stuff like these top fittings where I'm going to crimp down on this thing to make a seal, I want these to be I want this all to be brass. And then for these joint 90s, they're just they're just changing direction. Then I'll use the plastic. Because you can get a whole bag of these plastic ones. They're inexpensive. But yeah, any type of brass you see here is about $5 to $7 per fitting. So. Okay, so let's see. We're going to go from. So we're just kind of visually. I'm just kind of visually figuring out where I want to go. If you have a marker, sometimes that helps. You can kind of mark where you think you're going to go. So for this one, I'm going to take this. The other thing is this joint right here. If you guys can see, this joint is getting really close to being. There's some joints that they're so close that you can actually make the joint, because if you can think, the tube, basically when these touch, that is the shortest joint that you could make. You still need like a little bit of an offset, but this distance between these two right here, that would be the shortest piece of PEX pipe that you could use. Sometimes you're in a situation like that. For me, I want to come off like this and come right out of the hot water. That's what I want to do, but I can't do that because there's not enough room. So this is what takes a lot of time, is even though I'm here, I have to figure out the best path to come through here and then get to this. So what I'm doing is, I know that I need to take a right turn here. I'm going to do my T-split. The T-split is going to provide water to the rear shower, so we have hot water at the back of the van. Then this T-out comes back to the hot water. Now, for you guys, the blue side of the hot water tank is the in. So if I drew an arrow here, the arrow is going into the hot water tank. And then if you draw an arrow here, and I would do that if you've never done this before, or just everybody do it. It doesn't mean that you don't know anything. It's just a visual in reference. It's good for troubleshooting in the future. So when you're here, the blue is the water going in. So the water pump in the back is going to take water out of the tank, pressurize it, and fill the hot water tank up through this port. So as you can imagine, in a second, we're going to have another set of fittings, and we're pretty much going to mirror the hot water, but the water is going to be going in a different direction. So this T will come back in another form, and it'll be supplying the, I'm doing the hot water now because it's more complex, because there's only one line going in for the blue. The red needs to come out 90 T and go back in, and then I'll go back and do the blue. So things that are more complicated, need more transitions, you can probably do that first and then come back with the simple lines, because you'll probably have more room. That's just my 2 cents. Let's see here. So we're going to cut, let's see here. Also, I want to make sure that I have enough room between my lid. So use this as an indicator. This is where my lid's going to be. So you have to imagine I have a lid that comes through here, but I still want to mount this up against the wall to support this so it doesn't move around. And I still got to transition. So I need to make sure mentally that the red one is on the bottom, blue one's on the top. So the red one's on the bottom, that'll be the first one to come out. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to cut this, let's see, we're going to cut it. And you want to cut it where this little tab is. There's these little tabs on here, and that's where you want to cut your mark. So that's your cut location. So we're going to do that. And so that should give us enough room. Actually, I'm going to go back just a little bit more. Let's give us a little more insurance. Okay, so that's there. So we're going to go ahead and cut it there. And this can be really stressful as a DIYer, because think about it. This line that I'm about to cut is permanently fixed in all the kitchen galley. It's already mounted, bolted, screwed, crimped down, hooked to all the plumbing. So if I cut this one wrong, I'm going to have to redo everything I did inside the van. So just definitely take your time. All right, so we made our cut. It's kind of weird though. It's almost like surgery. So we made our cut, and so now we can see that this is going to fall right there. So it's going to be, and so this thing that's annoying right here, I have a clamp, and I'm just clamping it out of my way. So let's get an expansion sleeve. And I'm going to zoom in because you don't need to see me. I'm going to zoom in here. Okay, we're taking our expansion cap. That sleeve goes there. And then, oh, by the way, the question is probably going to ask, Nick, why don't you separate the hot and cold lines? We could do that, but you're not going to use hot water all the time. 2, the water temperature inside the cold water tank is typically not cold. It's room temperature. And there's only so many places that you can cut holes in a van and route the cables or the plumbing. So I just put them together, zip tie them so that they don't flap around on the back of the kitchen galley, and I kind of go from there. All right, so we're going to make sure we have our fitting ready to go so we don't miss the timing and mess our joint up. If it's colder where you're working, if you don't have like a heated or cooled shop, if it's colder, it's going to be more expansions. If it's hotter, it might be 1 or 2 less expansions. Okay, so we have that here ready to go. So next, we're going to make our next transition here. And so this one is a little tricky. Just need to make sure we plan it accordingly. Now for this one, we need to make sure this guy is far down as possible because it's not about this joint. It's about this one. Now this one's going to be really tight because we're going to have 2 pieces like this. So it needs to come all the way towards me so that this is not too close. So this is this is the next one. So I'm going to take a marker. I'm holding this one. I don't care about this. This is going to go towards the wall. We'll measure that in a second. But I got this one. And we're going to put our mark right here. So we're actually marking the other pipe. That gives us a reference. Then remember, make sure you got room for your expansion caps. And actually, I want this one to go over. Let's see here. Yeah, you can see how this gets complicated kind of quick. Let's see, I'm going to, all right, that's okay. Because what I'm thinking is, this is going underneath here. I need to make sure I can get a pipe underneath here and put on there in enough time before it closes. So let's go ahead. We know we can measure now. So we're just going to put this on here. So we're pushing this up against the wall. And then we're going to come back about 1/8 of an inch just to give us some wiggle room for when we put our cap on here. Okay, and so right there, where my finger is where the blade needs to go. Okay, so we got this. So this is the easy one. So I'll do the easy stuff first. Okay, next, just gotta keep on going. So the next one is for our T. So So this T is going to go up here. Let's go ahead and get that one going. Now I need to make sure that this one goes underneath here, and that is important because we have our blue line that's got to go over, under, and back over here. Because I may be putting another tank support right here. So we can't actually run the lines on top or run them along this side panel over here. Okay, so there's that. Let's make our next connection. Now, if you did Legos as a kid, you're gonna be just fine. It's just like a big box of adult Legos. The problem is they're very expensive. I usually do 10. I'm doing 8. You could do 10. I should probably just start doing 10 because I'm having to put them on there a little quicker than I want to. All right. Now, as we're putting this other one on, once we connect these two, we can't really move this up and down like we wanted to, or like we have been doing, so just heads up. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so now for this one. This one's what's going to bring me home into the mount for the wall. So I'm actually pushing it towards the wall. And then that's going to give me pretty rough of what I need to cut it. Okay, for this one, I'm going to put it on this stem first. Also, you may want to consider how you plumb this. Notice that I have these removable. These are removable. you may want that because if this does fail in the future or even recent, which I'm going to go ahead and tighten these down before I forget. Okay. There we go. Okay, so these are in for long haul. These come off so you can actually take this water heater out and replace it if it fails. Now you'll have to do two things. So actually, John and Susan, if you're watching this video, a couple years down the road, if this needs to be replaced, essentially what you'll do is you'll just need to cut this line, cut this, and then take this vat fitting out, and then this whole thing will come straight out. Now, you could design this so that you wouldn't have to do that, but we don't have enough room. That's basically what happens in vans. Like Thomas's van, for example, we have to unbolt his whole entire countertop off on his van to access or repair anything. So, but it's bolted down, so it's designed to be taken off. So this one, 3 cuts and you have to use one more fitting and repex it. It might take more, maybe 5 minutes to reinstall. But this is not a permanent install, I guess is what I'm saying. With these valves, you can undo them, unscrew this, and then take it out. Because this is designed to where this slides directly out. I got it in by just putting it straight in. So this is actually not in the way. All right, let's just triple check what we're doing. Okay. Again, we need to make sure that we can access this. So don't forget. As Humble Road says, options. Well, he says access too. So, all right, now this one. So when you know this is grabbed tight enough that where you're not going to mess with it, you can go ahead and move on to the next joint. And you can be really confident and quick because what I just did, that is I will call that a permanent joint. So it took us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of these just to get that one run. So you don't want to do double work. So you don't want to come back and be like, oh man, I didn't put that on there right. Okay. There we go. See, we got a nice intersection here. Now, what I will do is I can mark on this because nobody's going to see this, but this will also help John and Susan if they just want to take this lid off and explore or check something. But if you can write the direction of the flow of water, that might help you in the future. So the flow is going in the blue, out the red. So the red goes out, out, and then it goes out 2 directions. When the back valve is off, which it normally will be unless you're doing a rear shower, the pressure is going to take it and take it to the sink. So it's going to go down here, and go straight to the sink. So that's kind of how this works. Just basic piping. Next, we need to find our, our next move, which is going to be right here. While I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and take my retaining strap and drill into the wood back here, because I need to make sure that my measurements are right. If you don't brace it, then stuff can get off. I'm using 3/4 inch cable clamps. So these are the Pex stuff. The Pex stuff is way too expensive. I used it. It was very fancy. I had to modify it. I used it for 80/20, but as you do get more experience, you do different things. So we are not doing that anymore. We're using these electrical cable clamps. We're going to grab our Milwaukee drill. So this is what they look like. They're 3/4 inch. And what I like about them is they don't have a super tight fit. So, you know, this can expand and contract, move a little bit, but it's not gonna rattle. It's just enough so it's not permanent. But we're gonna take this, we're just gonna loop it around this. And then we're gonna be extremely careful, because if I lose this screw, this is gonna be, it will be a pain to get this screw back. So let's see. Be really careful. And I do want this to be down pretty far, because I don't want it to interfere with my blue, my cold water line. Okay, there we go. So now that's secured. We'll do the same thing when we get to the blue side, but see, now I've got enough room to put another screw to hold the blue line when it comes over. So now we're just going to get Pex. And we need to measure this for our 90. And this one, actually, I'm going to probably switch over to blue. Let's get the blue out of the way. Also, you got to have a PEX specific cutter because it cuts it in a way that it's a flush, clean cut. You can't cut it with scissors or 10 snips or anything like that. There's no way. So remember, this one is the one we need to take over. But we need to leave room for a 90 over here. We're going to come up. And it's okay, these do swivel a little bit. Okay, so let's figure out where this 90 is going to be. And this one's going to be we're going to be mounting this one upside down, so this might be interesting. Looks like that right there is where we need to be. Let's see if that worked. Don't forget to add that 1/8 of an inch for both of the expansion fittings. Yeah, pretty happy with that. And if you want to be a super pro at this, the bend of the pipe, its natural bend, or however it's bent. Actually, today when I was doing the other side, I had all this hose laying out in the sun, and it softens it up, and it's really easy to do the straight runs. But it's cooled down, so these are nice. These are curvies, but this curve is what I want. I actually want a curve going down. So if you can crimp it with the curve, then you're doing great. And then you can actually put a mark on how you want it to be vertical. These Sharpies are terrible. There's for this one, we're going in this direction, and this is going up underneath this wood support. Okay, so now we've got that. Now that is what's going to take us underneath and to the back of the van. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get ourselves, so we don't want the clamp right there. Yeah, we can do that there. That's okay. All right, let's some more screws. Move the camera so you guys can see a little bit more detail about how this whole thing's happening. For this one, I want to make sure that I don't go too high. So, we're going to do Nick's OCD here. Not a bad thing. It's how all the details come out. All right, so that allows me to know that's the highest I can make it, so I won't hit the lid, and that'll save me time when I put the lid on, so I know I'm not bumping into anything. I just don't want these to rub. I want to keep this one separate. So if we do that, this will be good. Again, don't lose our screw. That'd be terrible. See, that's good. Excellent. All right. And then what we'll do on this little cross section here is we'll zip tie this, because we don't want this to, when we're driving the van, I mean, if you can imagine, that would drive anybody crazy. Let's go ahead and put a zip tie there, because I don't need to move it anymore. So yeah, all we're doing is just going to just put a nice zip tie right there. Flush cut trimmers, they're the best. Specifically for zip ties. Make sure you don't get that sharp edge that you normally get. Okay. There we go. Actually, got to back up. Let's see here. Can I fit a T in here is the question. It might be too tight. All right, we're going to take our T, we're going to take our zip tie off because we need to put a T in here. So this is a good example for you guys on the maze of this. See if I've got some more room on the other side to move it, if I can move it. I think I can free. Oh, I got some room. Nice, 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 nice. Okay. You've got enough room to move it over and go with plan B. So back here on the kitchen galley side, we've got, I have room to work with. I've got about, let's see here. Yeah, 4 inches. That's all. Yeah, that's all I need. Just 4 inches to slide that over, and then we can splice in our T, and we can get back on track. Yeah. So what I have here is. So all my electrical lines in the kitchen galley, they have like an additional wrapping just in case something needs to be shifted. Same goes for the, I'll move the camera over here and show this because I'm actually getting ready to cover this up and nobody will see it again. But we have a water drop filter, and they have some stainless steel braided lines that go in and out. I'll show you this in a second. But that gives us a ton, see this room, see how much room I've got? So I can go in there, in the back of the van. I can pull out what I need, and then I can get back to work. So what I want to do is I need this to shift here. Because see, I can't, this can't overlap this, it's still gotta come behind here. So this is the stuff that's really hard to pre-plan. You kind of have to just do it in the moment, which sounds crazy, but it's just custom building. It's all custom. It's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to work our way from the goal backwards. So we know we're going to tap into this, but we don't know where yet. So let's go ahead and find out what this needs to be. I guess we got plenty of room for our T. So let's just do this one. So this one looks like we're going to be right there. So this is a great example for you guys if you've never done this. Don't stress. Technically you can say this was a mistake, but I call this more discovery. I didn't know I could go this way until I went this way, if that makes sense. So, all right, now we're going to make a really, really tight connection here. So, a little complicated. We got to do it right once. If we do this wrong, then we have to replace this valve, and then maybe cut that is a lot. We'd have to make some multiple cuts. So we're going to take this easy, step by step, and put this together. Okay, so we got our first piece. So this is going to go here. Just like that. Might come back just a little bit. It's possible we might have made this too long. But so you can see now we're getting into some intricate stuff, but I think we'll be all right. I've done this before. So this is going on here, just like that. It takes longer for the brass to catch than it does the black plastic, which is interesting, always interesting to me. Anyway, okay, that, now, see where we're getting? We're getting somewhere. The flow is coming this way, so the blue is going this way. The red is going this way, but the blue is also going in to the hot water heater. So this is the supply to the hot water heater. So this is where our little fixes got to go. But now we have to be accurate. So we're going to get a good permanent marker this time, and not use the crappy one. All right, there we go. Yeah, so this needs to be precise. And once we fix this, we'll switch over to the kitchen galley and we'll go over that. So what I'm doing here, if you guys can see, I'll zoom in a little bit more. There you go. Okay, so this one is going to come right here, but our cut needs to be back further because of our expansion piece. So we take the line from the dot where it's going to butt up against, and then we subtract the difference of our cap, which is usually almost 1/8 of an inch. And then we'll make our cut, and we should be really, really close. We can still reuse this, so we'll just put this here so we don't have to waste this. All right, so this is going to come here. This is going to come in here. And so I don't know if you can see that, but see how offset it is right now? So watch that. There's the offset. And when we put the white cap and crimp it, it'll move it into place. But as a backup, we can actually physically move this into position. But we want it to be actually, we're going to, let's see. So we actually can't do that now yet. So we're going to have to, we need to make this middle, make the part that bridges these together. Let's see here, bridge these together. See, I feel pretty good about that, but not sure. So I need the hose to come down and over. Man, it's gonna be tight. Okay, this is gonna be, we're just gonna go for it. We're gonna go for it. There we go. Okay, yeah, nice. Okay, that's what we're trying to. That's what we're going for. I know it took forever, but we just want everything to be neat coming out of this. But we need to give a gap because underneath here that you guys can't see is we have another line that is the pickup for the water pump. So we just need to make sure all of these are able to get where they need to go. So this one may still be usable. Yeah, I think so. All right. All right, guys, let me take a picture of this really quick. So Pat, Pat, if you're still watching, give me a thumbs up so I can answer that question. Or just yes. He said, I'm confused. Do you need up T your hot water inlet with that line? So let's go over here this real quick. The blue line is this line. This is the blue. So this is the pressurized line. So this line is going in. So we'll just make arrows here. So this is the pressurized line. This is going in. Okay, so see the flow? And so John and Susan, this will be good. Just in case there's an issue, you understand this is how the water is flowing. Okay, so the water flows in here, and then, so this is the pressurized line. Just keep remembering, this is the pressure line coming from the pump. So the water coming from the tank into the pump into here, pumps, it diverts and goes into the hot water tank, fills up, gets hot, and then comes out. But here it also goes straight to the cold water faucet. So when you turn the cold water on, it comes down here. If you turn the cold water off, you turn the hot water on, it's still, the cold water still comes on, but it's used to push the water that's been heated out and back in to the hot water line. This line that's red, ignore this one. They don't make any other colors, so I made it red because it's technically, when this valve goes off, it's discharging extremely hot water. But this is the vent line, essentially. So water in, hot water out, going back in. And then there's a T down here that you can't see, but that is actually going back to the back for the rear shower. Oh, okay. Yes, I messed up. so I got you. I messed up. I didn't put the T in. I was focusing down here on the bottom part. So yes. When it was just straight going from the pump to the faucet, I missed this junction. So this junction is what I missed because I thought I was going to have to I thought I didn't have enough room. I thought I couldn't move this pipe out, but now I could because I undid the zip ties and I moved it up. And that allowed me to, instead of doing all the junction stuff down here and coming back up like that, I moved this pipe up and it gave me room to put a T in and just do this transition here. So we're going this way, splitting, going to hot water heater, splitting, going to sink faucet. So this is kitchen galley faucet. This is supply for the hot water, which goes to the kitchen galley faucet and to the back. Awesome, cool. Glad that helped. Okay, I'm gonna move the camera and I'm gonna talk about the front of the van because I won't have time to do that tomorrow. So let's pause and let's talk about because it's going to get covered up and I won't have any video of that. So I'm going to put you guys on the camping drawing screen just for a second because I don't have the other camera on. Let me reposition the camera. And then this will make all the sense in the world because you'll be like, oh, okay, I get it. Okay, get it all cleaned up. This is getting a panel put on it tomorrow. So we need to make sure you guys see this before it gets closed up. Okay, let me back up the camera just a little bit. Hold on 1 second. There you go. Okay, I'm wondering why my camera's not. There we go. And then let's move it down just a minute, just a little bit. Ignore the kettlebell that was used to silicone the sink into place. It was the weight for that. All right, let's look at this stuff. So all the drawers are out so that we can access our lines. So these were the lines I was talking about that were zip tied. That's the hot and cold water coming into the van. So we're just going to pop another line on there really quick. So back here behind the drawers, so this is where you got to really plan this stuff out. The drawers are not full depth 24 inch like the galley. They're 18 inches so we can have this cavity in the back for our lines. And also maybe any additional electrical that you may want to expand to. Got a brace here, so this would be also, so the top and this one, top, middle, and bottom one. There'll actually probably be another one tomorrow installed here so that we can, that'll affix the back panel here. It's gonna be bolted on so that you can take it off and work on this if you need to. It's essentially going to be screws. Nothing too fancy. But all of our drawers in so that we have the space for our line to come in. So over here, again, extremely tight spot. We have 2 jerry cans that we need to fit in here. We have a hot water heater switch. We have a water filter, and we have all of our marine electrical cables that are coming through here. I say marine so people don't get worried that these are not exposed wires. So these are double jacketed. So the white that you're seeing is a covering on top of the electrical wire. So inside here, so you have the copper wire, then you have a outer sheathing, and then there's a secondary sheathing. That's what makes it a marine cable. So these are all properly, they're also UL listed, which is important. If you can get UL listed, I would really try to. So everything that I use is UL listed. Okay. In here, we have the sink. We got a Rivati sink. We have some wiring. This is the button that controls the pump on and off. It's really cool. It's a waterproof, recessed stainless button. So John and Susan get in the van. They want to have water. They push the button, wash their hands, do dishes, and then when they're done, they can simply touch it off. It's very convenient. The blue light turns on when it's on. That way you know the pump's on, and you can make sure that the pump is always off. So in case a line breaks, the pump does not have power. This is always very complicated to put in here. This is the weight so that you can have your nice handle for your sink. So trying to make sure that when you're using it, it has enough room to go up, but also it doesn't go down too far, knock into the back of our panel or the water filter. So, you know, you got to kind of plan for that. So these are control wires for the water pump. Then we got our hot water heater, electrical switch, and then we've got our power for our 110 outlet on top of our kitchen galley. So if you want to make margaritas, you got power for your blender. Moving on down, water drop filter. This is that loop that I told you I do. So I do this loop so that you saw earlier, see how we can, if we needed more, we were able to pull this about 4 more inches and get some slack. So these are not binded, but at the same time we have them held into the back of the kitchen galley so that they don't vibrate. This one's poking out a little bit. That's good, because what will happen is when we take our back piece and it goes like this, this is not going to rattle. So you got like some spring action. So just kind of think about that. If it does rattle, all you gotta do is zip tie it. That's all. So this will be that back piece. Both the hot water shutoff valve and the cold water shutoff valve are back behind here. Now you can access them inside the underneath the kitchen galley, so you can undo these. If this way you're not, let's just say you goof and I don't know, you snag something in here where something happens and you break one of these, or you break the faucet. You can come in here and you can shut these off, and you can still use your water pump for your rear shower, hot and cold, like nothing even happened. So it's a good redundancy. These are more for your house so that it's hard to shut off the water main, but for in a van, you can just hit the power off. So you can use this as just a backup. So in the event that you break something up here in the kitchen galley, you can shut it off, use the rear shower for your water needs until you can fix it. Same thing over here. You can see we've got these looped and then held in, and those are just so, you know, you can see we want to keep these with some movement. We don't want them to be super solid fixed. And then we come down, we've got these big chunky cables. So one is going to be, I actually pulled a spare wire down here. So I've got 12 volt, I've got a 12 volt line that in the future, if they wanted to wire something into this 12 volt line, like something for an air compressor, as John was talking about, you know, depending on the amperage, technically we could hook something up here. This one is going to be plugged into the outlet. That is going to be, the outlet's actually going to be built into the rear panel. So that electrical outlet will be down there. And then we've got a lagoon mount that's going to be put here. So that'll all go on tomorrow. But plumbing wise, this is how this whole thing works. Hot, cold. Cold is going into the water filter, not the hot. So you need to make sure that if you want filtered, when you turn your valve to cold, that will be the filtered line. So there will be that cross contamination that people talk about. Just all you have to do, run it on cold just for a while. It'll flush out whatever was not filtered, and then the filtered water will come in 5 seconds. So just remember that. Just have the cold water run for a little bit. It'll flush it out, and then you can use it. For our gray water storage, we have two. These are 6-gallon jerry cans. So this big brace right here is not only serving to hold our electrical line, our water lines, but we have a big latch. What do you call it? We can put a bungee cord on, is what I'm saying. And then that is allow us to hold both of these jerry cans into the van. And then our door shuts. I made a little compartment in the front. John and Susan will see it when they get their van. A little compartment. I tried to make it as big as possible so that you maybe could put some cleaning supplies or something there. It's only about 3 or 4 inches deep, but there's a piece that holds back your jerry cans. Really, you don't need a bungee cord. I made it so precise to where it actually just holds these, but there is a metal tie-down strap that you can actually clip onto. There's another tie-down strap on the front, so I've got an adjustable bungee cord that you will pull over it. And then what we have here is a RV drain. It's a drain that has an integrated P-trap in it, so that's what this bottom section is. It does drain slowly, but that is because of what's happening on the inside. So in these tight spaces, you're always asking a lot of every component. So, it's not gonna be like your household sink where you drain it and it just flushes in 5 seconds. It might take a second, but that's because water's going in here, and then there's a little tiny P-trap that it comes through. And then this line is just going to snap onto the bottom here. There's so much sawdust in the shop. All right, so that will just go back on here. And then you want to make sure that you have some type of drop into your tank. So I only have 1 inch just because of what the space that we're working with. And that's fighting against standard kitchen height fill, floor of the van. Now we have these jerry cans as low, they're actually touching the floor, so they're not risen at all. Kitchen galleys at standard kitchen countertop height. So this is going to be cut, I just haven't done it yet, but this is going to be cut down here. And then what's really cool about these Reliance 6-gallon jugs is, and this is how my van is, and I've used the same exact method for going on 3 years, almost 4 years now. So this is what is going to go into, so you got all these options in the cap. In my van, I have this drilled out as a pickup tube for my fresh water, and then I have this for my gray water. So what I'm doing for John and Susan is you take this portion, and this goes into here like that. You got a little gasket that you put on here, okay? And then this comes like this, and then it'll actually go into the jug. And it's almost like this was designed this way. I know it wasn't, but when I found out about it, I was like, wow, it's like it was made for it. The taper is perfect because what this does is this goes in here, and then it is a perfect fit. I'm talking air sealed, perfect fit. Now there's these little red vents on the back of these jerry cans, and you're going to want to. Now when you're taking the jerry can to dump, you'll want to put this cap on, and you want to take this valve. So see that? You want to take this valve and you want to push it in so water doesn't come out. So now this is sealed. This is like what we were talking about on the big water tank. This needs to be pulled open when you hook this up because this is sealed. Here, I'll show you how it works. So this, we'll get our seal, put the seal on there. It's kind of John and Susan's how-to video. Goes in there, we have our seal, and then we're gonna take this, put it through here, take your hose, and then this hose is gonna go into the jug. And then this red line is gonna go on top of it. So that's your drain system. But this has to be pulled open so that when your sink drains, the air out of this can come out. Very simple. They don't sell these at Walmart anymore. They sell the Igloo version, which, again, that caused another delay because I ordered the same ones that I got for my van, but a different one came. So I'm trying to see if I can find those. Because I want to show you the difference. Okay. So these are the ones that you don't want to get. So you'll see these right here. You'll see these a lot. Here's the Igloo. They're 6 gallons, and this is 6 gallons. Okay? You see? But here's the problem. You see how much higher this one is. So I had to go back and find the retailer that actually sold this one, which is just Amazon. I should have gone there first. But this blue, even though it's the same, it holds the same gallons worth, the profile is wrong. So you want this one because it's shorter. It's wide. It's about almost 1.5 inches, 2 inches wider, and it's shorter. And that is what fits into a kitchen galley perfect. So yeah, very simple to change. If you're worried about smells, all you have to do is when you're not using your sink, you can just push that plug in, and this is sealed. It's not gonna stink in your van, I promise. Pull this open. You can do your dishes, dump it in here. Then when you're done, pop this out, and take this, and then all you gotta do is change it out with, you can keep this in your drawer, and just replace that with the cap. Push this in, and you can put it back underneath your sink, and then just switch it out with the second one. So you'll have one that's full, one that's empty, and then you can just switch. So that is what I've set them up with. That's a rundown of the whole entire thing. Up top, just nice, clean, Rivati sink, all that good stuff. I haven't looked at my phone, so I'm not sure if any of you guys are asking questions, but Yeah, let me hop onto the computer and we'll close out this late night stream here. Yeah, Pat. So the pump switch. Let's see if I can get my other camera working here. Give me 1 second. There we go. Okay. So, right here. All right, let's go over the products that we talked about today. Give me 1 second. Okay. All right, Pat, we have rector seal right there. That's what you want. You can go back and pause the video. These are the clamps that I'm using to, it's funny, somebody in the comments was not happy with me holding stuff up against the camera. I thought that was very strange. Trying to help out with some products, and they don't like stuff held up to the camera. It's a little weird. There we go. Now we're in focus. So there's these cable clamps. I got these at Lowe's, 3/4 inch for the Pex-A. There's 6 to a pack. Got the rector seal. The lights. This is the company. These are the best. These are the best. These are the best lights that you can get. Hands down. I have tried all of them. This is the name of the company. Amazon. These are not on the DIY Van Build cheat sheet. I know, I got to update that. You guys can tell. Super busy right now. In the next week, this van will be, it will be done sooner than that. But we will have time to get back to all these questions and products and updating the list and doing all kinds of other stuff. But this van is the priority right now, so nothing else is happening until this van is knocked out. This is the switch. John and Susan are going to get one in the sink, one in the back, and then one for their cargo lights. So you guys didn't know that, but I'm putting that in there. It's a little bonus. I know you wanted cargo lights. We had some extra lights from the order, so we're going to put those in there. But I'm also going to couple them with one of these switches. Now the switch. This is the pigtail, and then this is the button. So look how nice this button is. You can listen to the. I mean, and it's waterproof. This is a waterproof button. So this button has a. He's got this ring, and it's got a seal, a gasket on the back, and then you want to have a 7/8 inch. Not 7/8. Here it is. This is what you want to drill out the hole. Yeah, it's 7/8. Yeah, but 7/8 bent, 7/8 inch drill bit. Man, it's getting late. Okay, just a few more seconds. We're going to talk about this real quick. So this light has this pigtail, and then when you plug it into the pigtail, you just need to make sure you have enough room for that. Okay. Really quick. This is super quick wiring scheme. You have 2 blue wires. One is going to go to your okay, so for 3-way switch, I'm not doing that. So what I'm doing is if you turn the sink on, the rear button, and I'll tell John and Susan, I'll tell you this when we get in your van. When you turn the sink on, the rear button is going to be pushed down as well. So when the sink is off, even though this is pushed down, the pump will be off. I'm doing this because I want this to be a backup in the back of the van. So say something happens and you can't shut the pump off. You don't want to run around the van, you can disconnect the second one and it will actually break the full circuit. But to turn it back on from the sink, you'll have to re-engage it from the back as a kind of like a reset. But I'll talk to you guys about that. So I don't think, the instructions, I don't think allow it to be, I'm not sure. Pat, that's a good question. That's a great question. I will get back to that question. Yes, I will get back to that question. Let's see here. All right, a few minutes. Let's see. So these are they've got good instructions too. The instructions are really just if you want the light on when you turn the button on, or you want the light off when the button's on, or the light is always on. There's no. It doesn't mention any possibility for a three-way switch. So this is what I actually. So number one is how it's currently wired. Is in the number one. That way, when you turn the switch on, the pump turns on and the blue light turns on. When you turn the pump off, the blue light turns off. But remember, the one in the back of the van, and John and Susan, this is for you too. The one in the back of the van has to be depressed. Has to be depressed all the time for the front one in the main kitchen galley to work. So all you gotta do is just forget about it. It's only there for an emergency. So say, for example, I don't know, doing something weird and you broke the hose off or whatever, and you can't get back inside the van because you shut the van door. You can go right by the rear shower. You can just hit the button and it will shut the whole circuit off. So it's just a backup. So the blue light will be on when you turn on the kitchen. This blue light will turn on and the pump will turn on. So the power will actually go through these wires to the pump. Anyway, we'll go over all that on your van delivery day. Let's see here. Blue, okay. Yeah, these are the ones. They are the best. They're the ones to get. They're awesome. Whew, okay. Going to leave, go home, get some sleep, and then hit back here tomorrow. Let's see. So the front switch is wired through the rear switch. Yes. Yeah. So the front switch is the trigger. So the power comes from the battery, and that power wire is at the fuse panel. So the power wire is at the fuse panel. This wire over here is what actually goes to the switch and to the water pump. And this is going to get confusing. I'll have to go over this in another video. But basically, I'm just controlling the positive part of the power. So the pump is kind of like technically wired in. I've just broken the positive at the fuse box, and then I've remade it at the kitchen galley with a switch, which can break it again, and then I have sent it to the pump. I've sent it to the pump switch in the back, which can break it, and then to the pump final. So there's two sections in the circuit that can break. That's why the one in the back of the van has to be made all the time. And the one in the kitchen is the one that actually is controlling the pump. But in the event that the kitchen is on and you're at the back of the van and you need to disconnect it, you can turn the switch off and break the circuit. So there's two places you can break it. So if both buttons are up and it's broken in both places, and none of the buttons will work. But when you make the kitchen and you make the back one, it works. So I want to draw that for you, but I need to hop out of here. So yeah, don't worry. Pat, bring it up again. I'll make a video on that when we go through the circuits on the drawing pad. I just knocking this van out, so I need to get some rest and get back in here for tomorrow, first thing to keep going. Great questions. Thank you so much for watching so long. I really appreciate it. Anyone else that watched the stream today, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell. I go live randomly, just like tonight. It is almost midnight, and we're taking a break from the van so we can go to sleep. We'll be right back in here early in the morning. I'm not sure if I'm going to film. I just wanted to cover this because I knew it's all going to be covered up tomorrow, and you guys won't be able to see any of it. We might briefly go over what I finalized wiring over here, but this is the priority tomorrow, is getting this power system enclosed, just like we have this wood enclosure. So we'll make 3 panels. That'll be buttoned up in the morning. Put the panel on the front of the kitchen galley, and then we'll be moving over to this side to enclose the fuse box. So it looks like kind of a crazy mess, but trust me, it's just organized. It's just not wrapped up. Good news on the EcoFlow. EcoFlow is incredible. It is, I just turned it on. Every single thing works. I plugged everything in and I just turned it on. I didn't do anything. Shore power turns on, inverter turns on, all the circuits are properly connected. I even went in the screen and I didn't even read the manual. I just went into the screen and I went to shore power settings, and I dialed down my current to 10 amps from 15 amps. Like, you can toggle how many amps you want it pulling out of your shop. For example, in the shop I have the vacuum cleaner and the drills and stuff like that charging, so I didn't want it sucking too much power out. Went right into the EcoFlow display, moved it down from 15 to 10 amps to lower the charge, and I just let it go. And right now, you see the lights inside the van. They're working nice. EcoFlow is great. I really like it. I'm excited to get it outside. I'm planning to do that tomorrow so we can test the solar. We'll see if we can get there. It just depends on how that enclosure gets put together, if we have anything that comes up. But that's the plan. EcoFlow is doing good so far. Hopefully we'll get a AC test out of it as well. But that's pretty much it for right now. Thank you guys for watching so much, even though it's super late. And if you're not watching this late, you can watch it tomorrow. Hope this video helps you. If you have any questions on plumbing Pex-A, I have some other videos on the channel. Look them up. They're in-depth on how to do the whole entire Pex-A. Tonight was just really going through a detailed area of the van that I needed to knock out before heading home. Yeah, so that's going to do it for tonight. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next live stream.